All right, this is lab 3-4. First thing we will do is we have to go to databases. This always takes a while on my computer for some reason. Okay, almost there. Okay, scrolling all the way to the bottom. We're looking for W. Cobb Dillard's. Go ahead and expand that. Now we want tables. Okay, so all the tables we need are here. We're gonna have to make sure tables is highlighted and go ahead and hit this new query button. So now we have to type in the code from the textbook, and I'm going to go ahead and just copy and paste it from the textbook. All right, I now have the coding copied from the textbook. So for the first line, it's basically saying it's gonna select a state and then grab an average for the state and an average for the transaction amount. Okay, and so this second line just says that we're getting the state average and transaction amount average from the transact table, which is over here, and we're joining it with the store table, and yeah, and the transact table and the store table are connected using the store table, and that's why it's in the third line. So on this fourth line, here it's basically saying that there's a store column within the transact table and a store column within the store table, and that is how they will be connected. So on this fifth line, we're basically telling the system that we want to filter the data and basically just retrieve the data that's between 2016-09-01 and 2016-09-15. And in these last two rows, we are just basically saying that we want all of this data that's retrieved from the beginning 5 lines, that we want that data grouped by state, and then we also want it ordered by the average transaction amount in descending order. All right, now that we have it all typed out, we can go ahead and execute this, and here it gives us our results. And now we can go back into the part one of identifying the questions. And the question number one was, customers in which states had the highest transaction balances over the entire sample period? And that would be Arkansas. All right. Now that we answered question number one, we can go ahead and save this. And we're gonna save this to maybe our documents, since the desktop is scrubbed at the end of the day. And it's pretty close to 11:31. Ooh, hopefully I don't lose this, but okay, I think SQL query one should be fine. Okay. Now we are in Excel, and we want to import that data from the SQL Server database. Okay, so we can go to get data and from database, and then from SQL Server database. Okay, now here is where we put in the ESSS QL1 Walton University of Arkansas .edu, and our database is going to be W Cobb _ Dillards. All right, and we also have to put in something on here. Yeah, I can type this up. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy and paste what we have from our textbook. So I'll be right back. All right, now I have the code inputted from the textbook. Now it's kind of similar to what we had before. It's just that this transact dot star is this asterisk or star is basically a wildcard. So it'll pull from transact dot anything. And it also all the information we're pulling from, or that we're pulling, sorry, will be ordered by transaction date. Let me scoot this up some. Okay. Include relationship columns is selected. I think all is good, and we can go ahead and hit OK. Okay, and here we can just go ahead and use my current credentials as is selected, and we can go ahead and click connect. Click OK. Ooh. Try and see if I can edit it. Seems to be I have a typo. Okay, so I went ahead and figured it out. It seems to be like there was maybe a problem with the quotation marks I was using. It did not want to go through. It said something about a syntax error, and so I just went ahead and retyped it instead of just copying and pasting it. But now we can go ahead and load this into Excel. And it's loading. Should be almost there. There it goes. Okay, seems like we have all of our data we need. And now we have to go all the way to the right. Okay. So here we can go ahead and type, I still have caps lock on, Arkansas dash dummy. And then go ahead and expand this right here. Now we want to, I think we will be inputting a function in there. So basically what we want to determine in our Arkansas dummy column is whether the data in to the left of it in column P is or is not Arkansas. So the equation or function that goes in here, start off with if, and we have to use our brackets at state. There we go. Close off the bracket. Oh, missed equal sign. Now we need the quotation marks, AR, and then comma 1, comma 0, and then close off the parentheses. So it's saying that if in this column is Arkansas, it will be a 1. And if it's not Arkansas, it will show a 0. So we're gonna go ahead and hit enter. And it auto-populated through all the columns. And there is 978,659 total rows. So I'm not gonna scroll through these. I think I'm gonna go ahead and just take off the zeros so that it just displays our 1 values. All right, and because we have 1s in here, so we can come to a conclusion that the equation did work. And so we're gonna go ahead and add in the analysis tool pack, and we're gonna go to options, add in analysis tool pack. We hit go. Just the first one is fine. Hit OK. Now we have the data analysis little button here. Okay, so we can go ahead and go to data analysis and find regression. Ooh. Regression, okay. So what we want to select is the data from column M should be the input for Y range. All right, so kind of like how I said, what we want in our input Y range is column M. And so we're gonna have to input all the data within the column M. So I'm gonna start off by putting M, $, and I think we're supposed to use 2 just because the first row is gonna be just the headers, and so that might just confuse Excel. So it's gonna go all the way to 9,78660. And for our input X range, we want the Q column or the data within column Q. I don't want Q. Oops, what happened? Oh. All right, and again, we're going to use 2. And, well, not M, but Q. Number, money sign, 8660. All right, so 95 confidence level. And it's going to be on a new worksheet. So we can go ahead and hit OK. And here is our regression analysis. All right, so here we have our summary statistics. What we have here is the multiple R or R statistic. And what this basically says is, or it tells us the strength of a relationship between two variables. Here it would be between the transaction amount and the date. Or not the date, but the state. All right, and now we want to look at question 2. Which is, do customers in a state with the highest transaction balances have a significantly higher transaction balance from September 1st, 2016 to September 15th, 2016 than all other states? And so for that question, we want to look at our p-value. So if this was above a 0.05, or something, a number around there, then that would not be significant. But our p-value here is 0, or a small enough number that Excel only shows 0, then we would say that it is significantly higher. And so that is question number 2. Okay. Okay, now we are moving on to the next step, and that deals with store 698. We're back on sheet 2, and we will be creating another dummy column. This time we will name it online dash dummy. Okay, go ahead and expand this. We will use another if function. Okay, and here we will type, we need our bracket first at store. Close off the bracket, bracket. Okay, equals 698, which is the store we want. And then we want a 1 if the quantity in the store column is a 698, and if it is not, then we want a 0. Close off the parentheses and hit enter. Okay. Deselect all the all the zeros. Okay. All right. Now, since we have zeros and ones, we can tell that the function worked. And so we now want to go to the data analysis tab and go to regression as we did before. For this regression, we want to look at the transaction amount. Don't know why this kind of get slow from time to time. So we are still looking at column M. For our X range, we want to look at all right, so what we want to do is go ahead and grab for our input X range, the Q column and the R column. Now it's showing up. So here, I'm going to keep the Q2, and here we're just going to replace it with an R. Oh, R. All right, just got to make sure all these are selected, or the ones I want to be selected are selected. All right, seems good. Gonna go ahead and click OK. And yeah, for some reason, ooh, that's not what I want. Okay. Go ahead and expand these. All right, so now we have our regression statistics. And now we have two variables, where variable one is referring to the state of Arkansas or not Arkansas, and then two is online and not online. And so in question 3, it says, are online transaction amounts statistically greater than or less than non-online transactions during the time period September 1st, 2016 to September 15th, 2016. So when we look at our regression statistics, so here it shows that Arkansas, which was variable 1, that it was the transaction amount was $1.25 more, and with it being online, it definitely made the transaction amount way higher as compared to this. So that is question 3. Online definitely makes a difference. So for part 4, we're going to look at question 4, which says, how would you interpret the results from your analysis of question 1 in plain English? Why do you think the state of Arkansas had the highest transaction volume? We can go ahead and go back to question 1 just to refresh our memory. Customers in which states had the highest transaction balances over the entire sample period? This would, excuse me, this is obviously Arkansas. It was significantly higher. In our first test, our p-value was below 0.05. And here as well, this is still significant and below 0.05. The next question is there, question 5. So the analysis of question 2 addressed whether Arkansas had a statistically higher transaction volume than other states. How did the regression test show or not show a statistical difference? Does this have any implications for the marketing for Dillard's? Do you think it is because Arkansas is the home base for Dillard's? So okay. So the p-value, so the p-value tells us basically if there is a significant significant statistical difference in the online and not online factor, since it is below 0.05. So it is 100% significant. Okay. So does this have any implications for marketing in Dillard's? Do you think it is because Arkansas is the home base for Dillard's? It definitely that does have an implications for the marketing of Dillard's. So as I was saying, the second part to question 5 was, does this have any implications for the marketing for Dillard's? And do you think it's because Arkansas is the home base for Dillard's? I think it is, because Arkansas is the home base for Dillard's. I feel like that's making the transaction amounts greater. And then also the fact that it is online, which basically our data is reflecting that most of the online transactions should be in Arkansas as well. So with the last question of part 4, the regression analysis suggests that online sales are associated with greater transaction amounts. Why do you think that is so? Basically, this what our second regression test is showing is that what I kind of mentioned before of being in state, it shows that Arkansas is higher, and with it being online is also significantly higher than not being online. And so I would say that this is because Arkansas has more online classes, which is causing our regression test to show these results. Here we could see that it's definitely still significant. And so I would attribute it to that Arkansas does have more online classes. And so that is lab. I forgot the lab number. But yeah, thank you.